For many people, getting a role in tech can be a life-changing outcome. People are generally attracted to the field because of the high salaries that exist and just the realm of possibility of projects that you can be working on. The way tech is glorified in the media, it almost seems like a little bit of a fantasy role, and sometimes it's really easy to forget that it is just another job. People dream about getting into the role, but often don't remember to think past that first point. And because of that, it's really easy to just get siloed into the role you're in once you actually do land in the tech industry. It's important to make sure that you have a longer term vision than that. And the only way to do that is by not only thinking about the next role, but thinking about your dream life in tech 10 years, 20 years, and 30 years down the line. How can you build that? The point is not to just get another promotion, but to become an industry leader. I'm here at New York Tech Week this week to show you why networking events like this are your key to becoming an industry leader and build your dream life in technology. One of the reasons these events can be so important is because of the fact that when you get into tech, you just don't know what you don't know. Whether you're someone who's landed your first tech role already or you're still trying to break into the industry, it's important to keep that sort of long-term frame of reference in mind. And the only way to do that is by exposing yourself to a large degree of information. Within technology, the trends are often changing, and you have to be able to decipher what's good information and what's not. How can you keep up to date with the current trends if you don't get around the people who are working in those fields? Even for someone like myself, who spends a few hours studying new technologies every day and working on Twitter to keep up to date with trends, it turns out that there's just so much information that it's almost impossible for one person to actually just understand it without using help from other people. This is why these events are so important. This past week, I went to an event hosted by Datadog and Bearworks and listened to a couple panels about people talking about their industry and their experience as AI and ML founders. Several venture capitalists there were talking about how you can go about building AI application, and one of the founders there mentioned that he used a technology called Replit. He described how he was able to simply build this application in a single weekend, and it's something that I didn't even think was possible until now. Now, yes, I had heard of Replit before, and I probably could have gone on Twitter and done a little bit more research, dug into a rabbit hole, spent a few hours understanding whether or not the technology was good, but I would have spent so much time on one thing, and there's no way that you can do that for every Twitter trend or every new technology name that comes across. Instead, this person talking about this concept for 5 minutes gave me what the technology was, what he was able to do with it, and what he actually got out of it. Spending 5 minutes talking to him gave me more social proof than hours of doing research on my own. And it gave me something that I can actually go and apply. The next time I try to build a website, I don't have to do 6 hours of pre-work research to understand what technologies are out there. I can just say, hey, why don't we try Replit? These realizations led me to create something called the coffee filter method, which has been a huge contributing factor for my success at Amazon. At every stage of your career, it's important to keep a strong roadmap on where you are now and where you want to grow in the future. And in my eyes, the best way to do that is by taking in advice from key individuals around you. Their information is kind of like the raw ingredients. That's the coffee and water before they've been processed into something you want. Your job in this equation is to serve as the coffee filter method. You sort through all of their information and devise a plan for how to actually apply it. What passes through is better. It's coffee. It's that information that now has an actual applicability to your life. Whether that's passing that knowledge on to somebody else, applying it to your own scenario, by you serving as the filter, you're able to take the most information from the highest degree of sources as possible and ensure that you actually pass something out that's a lot better. One of the important things to remember is that the higher quality ingredients you have, the better your coffee is. The reason I came to some of these networking events is because the quality of the people around me and where they are in their life is something that I aspire to be in. Therefore, their advice is of very high quality to me. Because of this reason specifically, their advice is some of the most powerful that I've ever received. If you're interested in getting advice from me, I actually have a product management coaching application that you can fill out in the link below as well. In fact, the advice I got was so relevant that I literally met another person building a product management coaching application just like myself. I was a little bit apprehensive to talk to him at first because he's a direct competitor, but the fact of the matter is the more I got to actually speaking with him and asking questions, I found out that he was pretty much an open book. Basically, any question that I had, he was able to give me some advice on, and was literally giving me step-by-step examples on what I could do for the specifics of how to build a direct competitor to him. This was crazy to me because you often see a lot of advice about how people who are succeeding won't necessarily want to share, but I haven't found that to be true. I actually found quite the opposite. The spirit of mutual help was common in every single person that I talked to. And I think, to be fair, it can be a little bit different at job fairs and networking events, because at job fairs, there's a little bit of a competitive spirit because you're often vying for a set number of roles with all the people around you. But in business, I think it's understood that everybody you talk to knows that there's abundance to go around. Nobody's competing for the same 10 set of customers. There's so many people on planet Earth who everybody could benefit that it's better for us to just talk, share, and see how we can all benefit themselves. We're not trying to go for a piece of the pie, we're just rather trying to build our own use case and ensure we help the most number of people. Not only is it in these people's best interests to share that advice, even further, a lot of the time at these networking events, there are venture capitalists, clients, and hiring managers who actually benefit from giving you advice as well. A venture capitalist may want to invest in your business, a hiring manager may want you to grow you so that you can be a part of their company. More often than not, it just helps for these people to help you. And because they can benefit from helping you, using these conferences isn't a bad place to stress test any ideas that you may have been working on. Whether that's something like an individual business or your next career transition, you can get advice from here and know that it's valuable. Because these people benefit from giving you advice, it actually isn't a bad opportunity for you to use these conferences to try and stress test any ideas you may have been working on. Whether that's a new business idea or maybe just a transition in your career that you were thinking of making. Now, before you go pitching your business to people, you want to make sure that you've thought about it a little bit yourself and you can answer some in-depth questions, but this is a really good opportunity for you to put the fuel to the fire and see what people have to say. In the software world, there's a concept called product market fit, which is essentially how well your business fits what the market needs and whether or not people are actually willing to pay for it. It sounds pretty simple, but if you don't have this, your business more or less will fail. Because of this, I wanted to make sure my business ideas got some degree of validation before I continued to pursue it too long. And since there were a lot of venture capitalists around these conferences, people were in general trying to talk up their business so that they could potentially get investment. But what I tried to do is take a little bit of a different approach. I thought, rather than making my business try to sound really good, why don't I pitch it to these people and have them tell me why it's bad or where things can go wrong. This way, I get them to generate a little bit of ideas around what I can make better about my business while standing out at the same time. It's not just another pitch. I'm someone who's having a little bit more of a genuine conversation. Again, you don't know what you don't know, so getting a second opinion on these things doesn't hurt, especially if you're looking to jump into business full-time eventually. I told people I had just started this new branch of my business a few weeks ago, and you could see the excitement in their eyes. It was almost like you gave them the opportunity to teach a newborn baby how to walk. A lot of the times, people in networking events have a little bit of a professional facade. So the fact that I came across really authentic, just asking people for advice, was really refreshing for a lot of people, and I think it struck a chord with them. Because I had thought through my idea pretty well beforehand, I was able to ramp up the conversation pretty quickly, and once I got their interest, I could ask more in-depth questions about the things they specifically did to benefit themselves and their industry. Being an open book made me available to the best of their advice. I went to 4 different events during Tech Week, and I found this to be true at basically every single one. Throughout my time at Tech Week, I got to meet a ton of amazing professionals and founders who really inspired me about the next steps for me to take on my business. Whether you're someone who's unsure about starting a new venture or looking to make a transition in your career, there's such a strong value to going to these types of networking events. If you'd like to learn more about what these people had to say and any advice that I have as a senior PM in tech, feel free to fill out the Google form link in the description below, and I'm happy to set up time to talk to you.